Greetings, my name is Jay,
And I'm Ian.
and welcome to GG News. So, how you been doing, Ian?
Not too bad, Jay. How about you?
Pretty good. So I got some things to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so Nintendo Switch coming out with two new consoles. That's kind of interesting news.
Yes.
Basically like a pro version and a kids version. Uh,
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a kid's version, but yeah, it's a bit more stripped down, and
yeah.
um, it does have a harder plastic shell, so it's going to be able to take
Hmm.
a little bit more damage.
Yeah, and there's no specs on the Pro version yet, but depending on how powerful it is, I actually might pick it up. I don't know. It like maybe it'll be like a PS4 Pro where it'll be compatible with the old version and the new version, but I'm looking forward to more details on that.
Yeah, it'd have to be a pretty substantial upgrade. I mean, I know that I was semi easy sell between like the standard 3DS and the 3DS XL.
Right.
I would need this to be a comparable upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Yeah.
I would want a probably a bigger, maybe a little bit bigger screen on the handheld.
Yeah. My guess is
Um,
they'll probably, and this is my speculation, but if they add an actual hard drive space for the new Nintendo Switch, it'll probably help ease up some people who are like potentially still on the fence about getting the console.
that's true.
Yeah, instead of having to spend like $100 on a 256 gigabyte like external SD card. But yeah, so well, time will tell.
Plus,
But
on the flip side of that, it's also going to push a few more parents who probably haven't been willing to jump onto the bandwagon quite yet. With the more stripped down version, which doesn't come with a dock, and it is going to be able to take a little bit more of a beating.
right, yeah, that's true too, because it is a semi-expensive device. It's a bit more expensive than the 3DS, I think.
Yeah,
So like whenever it was newish, but yeah. So anyway, hopefully that does well for Nintendo.
hey,
Um,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, and ever so slightly, there's been new news about the like Google Stadia, I think that's pronounced. Um,
Yes.
that seems interesting. I don't know if I'm on the bandwagon about this. How about you?
I mean, I've got a decent PC myself, so I don't really need something that I can kind of have a workaround to having a decent PC. But
Right.
it's really going to make a lot of PC gaming, and I guess even next gen gaming really more accessible for a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily be able to afford the cost of a console
Right,
or
but you're gonna have to afford the cost of a better internet bandwidth, right? And there's still a lot of like Canada and the US that doesn't have very good bandwidth in other parts of the world too. And it's like, well, this is kind of, I don't know.
It's true. Now we are only getting launched in they're only launching in Canada, US, and parts of Europe
Hmm.
as well as the UK.
Right.
So it's not like a huge worldwide release. And from what I was reading, you're looking at, if you're going to be playing at like I think under 60 frames per second,
Okay.
you you can get by around 5 to 10 megabyte per second download.
Right.
So I mean that's way more accessible than having to go for like 100. You're still going to want to have an unlimited package because
Oh, for sure.
it's going to
And I
just
think at
rip through your
least
bandwidth
here
if
in
you don't.
Canada, that's becoming more and more of like commonplace with almost all the packages with the main providers being
Yeah,
unlimited at this point anyway. At least in the city. So
yeah.
maybe not if I'm like out in the country or
So
something like that, but
that kind of leads us into the other big announcement this week.
yeah,
I guess
probably
Stadia
the
was really
biggest
next week,
one.
but this
Yeah.
was Apple Arcade.
Yeah, so I found that really interesting, and I first noticed this because of Forward's Facebook posting with Shantae 5 and it being on it coming out, and I was like, yes, new Shantae game, and it's like, what the heck is an Apple Arcade? So then I looked it up, and then pinged you about like we should probably talk about this. 100
Yeah,
plus
it's
games. That's kind of exciting. Um, yeah.
and honestly, like I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple on that list that I'm legitimately interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer them on a different platform. I'm not a huge fan of mobile gaming,
Yeah.
but if that's the only way they're going to be accessible,
Hmm. Yeah, if
I
it's the only
mean,
way, like Monument Valley 1 and 2 for the iStore and PlayStation Store, sorry, Play Store, is a very good game, and that's the only way you can play it. So like I'll definitely play it. But if Shantae 5 is available on the Switch, which it's going to be, I'm gonna get it for the Switch. Like, it's not gonna
well, yeah,
sell an
no,
Apple
that's
Arcade for me. But there's a lot of games that are like, there's some Lego games, and they were talking about some. Oh, the my
like
browser played music. Sorry about
I've been looking forward to Where Cards Fall
that. You mentioned that
uh,
earlier,
since they announced that like 2 years ago,
right?
and now it's also going to be available on Steam, so I will go that route.
Right.
But I mean, some like there are some things coming to it that look really interesting that I don't necessarily know. Maybe they're not going to be available on other platforms. So
Yeah, I'm just
beyond
really
a Steel
curious
Sky,
to see, like, are these going to be full-fledged games, or are they mainly going to be like the cell phone game, so to speak, like where it's not that long and it's more of just a short experience that's 2 or 3 hours or something like that. It has its place, that's for sure, but I
I
don't know.
mean, we've for sure seen in the past like cell phone games, like mobile games, move into actual like an actual console.
Mm-hmm.
With I'm fairly certain Touch My Katamari for the PS Vita was a port to some extent of the mobile version.
Okay.
I'm correct. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But also you've got
Was Banner Saga on the mobile first, or was that?
I don't think it was on mobile first. I believe it was out on
Oh, okay.
consoles first, but it works perfectly fine on mobile.
That's very true.
It's very like there's a lot of people who've played it that way because it's
Mm-hmm.
very accessible. You can have your iPad with you wherever. You can, on the train ride in or whatever.
Yeah, this
And
says it was
Sword and
available
Sorcery.
on Windows, OS X, Linux, iOS, and Android at launch on January in 2014, and then on consoles later. So yeah, so it was
But
on mobile right away.
Sword and Sorcery was on mobile first,
Okay.
and then came to consoles
Yeah.
after the fact, and it was a great game.
Yeah, and
So
there are a lot of good mobile games out there. It's just it's a specific niche market. It's a very
yeah,
big market, obviously. So I don't
oh for
mean
sure.
niche in the sense that very little people do it, but it's going to be interesting as time goes on and more games get released
Yeah, and
for what's coming
I
after
I,
this.
I do like that they're going to be available offline.
Hmm.
I do
That's
like
cool.
that
I'm
there's going to be a
surprised
family.
Apple's doing that actually, because a lot of their stuff is like you need to be connected, but
I like that they've got a family sharing plan so that everybody within your household can have access to it.
right.
I do like that it's going to work on like iPads, iPhones, Macs, and Apple TV,
Right.
which is
Well, it's
I
their ecosystem, right? It's going to work for their own products. Like if it doesn't, that's just a stupid decision on Apple's side. They've made
oh
some
it's
stupid
it's
decisions in
true.
the recent past, but yeah.
Yeah, like I at the end of the day, really we don't have any kind of price point yet on it. So until
Expensive.
the
Knowing Apple, it's going to be expensive. That's my only
until there's a price point there, I'm not gonna say yes or no.
mhm.
I mean, if it's under $10 a month, that's not bad. That's gonna be great
Yeah,
for
cuz
any family who has kids who have access to this. Like for
in
$10 a month, yeah, that's
Origin is like
$120 a year.
15,
But
right? Origin Access is $15 a month, isn't it?
I mean, you would have to ask somebody who uses Origin.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah. I'll look that up. But there's also some E3 announcements that you wanted to mention. Did you want to go through those?
Oh yeah, we have a couple confirmed titles that are going to be at E3 this year, which is really exciting. Halo Infinite,
Hmm.
which kind of cool. Doom Eternal, which should be fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, they they've been testing that on the Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already out there in the public, so it'll just be interesting to see more people have access to it and kind of get more hands-on impressions of it. And then the big one, Cyberpunk, is for sure going to be there. So
yeah, and
I mean, we knew it was going to be there.
Cyberpunk 2077 is what he said. Just
yes, yeah 2077.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we knew that was going to be there. That's probably going to be the biggest thing, unless something comes out of nowhere and surprises everybody. I think Cyberpunk 2077 is like that's like the most anticipated title.
I think if anything comes out of nowhere and surprises anybody, it's not going to be at E3. It's going to be at the PlayStation conference. So yeah, and
that's true. Yeah.
To come full circle, Origin apparently is $5 a month for the basic, or $20 a month for the Premier. So, yeah, cool. Well, that's all we have for this week for GG News. Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know what you're excited for. Are you guys gonna pick up the new Switch?
Yeah.
Or one of the new Switch models when it comes out?
Like, yep.
What about Stadia? Stadia. All you need is access to Chrome, or all you need is Chrome.
Chromecast essentially, or a browser.
Chromecast.
Yeah. It's gonna need more games. It's gonna need exclusives and games to sell, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, plus we're not too sure how the games are gonna work. Is it gonna be a service? Be paying for a license and then having access to it?
Yeah.
A lot of that's up in the air, but
yep, indeed.
Anyways, let us know what you guys are thinking, and we will catch you next week.
See you around.